You want to clear these exams and you are scared of Quant and DI. This has been the section that's been ruining the test for you. It's the section that you fear would ruin the test for you going forward. So that's bad news. You know what the good news is? There are so many people like you. Half the population is like you. There's more good news. Many of these people would eventually clear the test as well. I mean, it kind of really amuses me when I look at this in school, in college, and even in these competitive exams. So many people are actually scared of maths, then going forward, quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, and all these things. I'm not talking about school now, but what I know for sure is that if you just change a few basic things, leave this fear, you work on this methodically, then this can definitely be conquered. We'll have to look at the paper first. I'll tell you what exactly you need to do, and you can definitely do enough to clear the exam. Not getting the history, but yes, we'll take care of certain things. People do it, and trust me, anybody can do it, even if you're very bad at it. You just have to work towards fixing it. Let's look at the paper first. Paper, because whatever you're aspiring to do, first you need to understand what it takes to do that. So let us look at the paper first. What exactly comes in prelims and mains of bank PO exams that troubles you? Let's start. Let's talk about prelims first. For IBPS PO and SBI PO, it's almost similar. I would broadly categorize it into three parts. This number one, arithmetic and data interpretation. The most important one, the one that causes most trouble to most of the people. Number two, there are three parts of it: number series, simplification, approximation, and quadratic equations. And number three, mensuration and probability. If you ask me, this is the syllabus. This is the complete syllabus of prelims as well as mains. There's some differences, we'll talk about it. Arithmetic, data interpretation, number series, simplification, approximation, quadratic equations, and mensuration, probability. Let us look at the composition of the paper as well. So prelims, you are aware, is of 35 marks, right? So this is 35 marks. Out of these 35 marks, if I talk about the rough paper composition, it would be 25 marks from this and 10 marks from this. So 25 marks from arithmetic and data interpretation, this number one, and 10 from this number two, number series, simplification, approximation, and quadratic equations. Yes, paper does vary a bit. Every paper is different, but this is the rough composition. And mensuration, probability in prelims rarely comes. So probability at times a question, a couple of questions, mensuration one question, two questions. This is probably, I can say that this is like non-existent. We can forget it, but yes, this is a part of it. That's why I put here. Mensuration, probability in prelims, not that important. So this is a rough composition. If I have to further break it up, because you need to understand before starting any kind of preparation, arithmetic, I would say, is like around 10 marks generally. This would be around 15, 3 sets, 5 each. This is the current trend. Number series, it generally is there. They can give you 5 questions and one of simplification and quadratic equations. So there will be another 5, these two, like that. It can be simplification and quadratic as well, but yeah, generally it's like that. So that makes this 10. In these three, number series most important, then simplification, approximation, and third one would be quadratic equations. This all can change, but we are looking at the current trend. Arithmetic 10, it can be 15, DI can be 10. Here, this can become 15, this can be 10. At times, they introduce some quantity comparison as well. Some data sufficiency can happen in some of the tests, especially in test series. But yeah, this is the rough breakup. So if I have to put in a nutshell, I would say this is 25 marks for you. This is 10 marks for you. This hardly makes a difference in prelims. So this is for prelims. I'll talk about the composition of the main exam as well. So when we talk about mains, how does it work? Arithmetic, data interpretation, I would say this is everything. Mains, again 35 questions. So out of these 35 questions, weightage is different, it's 60 marks, but majority of it would be arithmetic and data interpretation. Number series, yes, on an average there will be 2 questions of number series out of these 35. So at times it's 1 question, at times it's 3. Rough estimate would be around 2 questions number series. This is not there, this is not there. Some mensuration, some probability, probably 1 or 2 questions here, 1 or 2 questions here. This is the rough breakup. So I would say around 30. Again, these are all rough estimates, right? The paper happens just twice a year. Looking at the test series and everything, this is a rough composition. Again, you can see that this number 3, mensuration probability, is not very important here. Do it, wonderful. If you don't do it, it's not going to hurt you much. If you cannot clear the exam after doing arithmetic and data interpretation, this number 1 properly, you would not be able to clear the exam even if you do mensuration probability. I'm not saying you have to leave this. No, I'm just showing you what exactly appears in the exam. At times we keep working for it without realizing what's exactly happening. right? So mensuration probability I showed you, it's not very important prelims, not very important mains. 1 question, 2 questions max prelims, 1 or 2 questions in mains, not more than that. Would not take you much time. What appears in mensuration probability in both these exams is like quite simple, but it would still take you some time. I have stated all this in the order of importance. What is of paramount importance? Arithmetic and data interpretation, no doubts about it. After that, number series, simplification, approximation, quadratic equations. More for prelims, not as much for mains. What is least important? Mensuration probability. And that's why I started with number 3. So I am not bothered about mensuration probability at this stage for these 2 exams, SBI PO, IBPS PO, even the clerk exams and all, right? If you are poor at maths, poor at quant, at this stage, do not even think about these 2 topics, no. I'll not even talk about it. First, you have to fix what is the most important thing. Number 1, then number 2, and then if you're good, you want to just give a boost to your scores, you talk about number 3, right? So this is how we'll proceed. Some of you might be wondering, why did I say arithmetic and DI 30 questions or around 30 questions? It's mostly DI. We'll talk about it. It's arithmetic and DI only. It's not just DI. It appears in sets. It has a lot of applications of arithmetic. We're not talking about this. Come back to me after 6 months, ask me how to prepare mensuration probability, I'll tell you. Not at this stage. We are bad at it currently, that's what I'm assuming, and we need to fix it fast. As it's written here, I told you, it's in the order of importance. This is the topic for you, arithmetic and data interpretation. Number series, simplification, quadratic, important for prelims, not as important for the main exam. Do you know why a lot of people regularly clear the prelims while they fail in mains? The reason is simple. Too much focus is put on this number 2, these 3 topics, and they get really good at it. So they are like 10 easy marks here, and these are simple topics. You have to master them, right? So 10 easy marks here, and then they can somehow, I told you in prelims, it is like 15 marks generally, and this would be around 10. They can get this 15 because data interpretation in prelims is not a challenge. So this 10 plus this 15, even if they leave arithmetic completely, they'll get a decent score, 22, 23, 24, but they would clear prelims. But what would happen in mains is that all this does not exist. Probably a couple of questions here, just that. And it is all in the form of data interpretation sets. There's lengthy looking data interpretation sets that require the applications for arithmetic, that require you to use logic, some calculations, some topic based TIM and whatnot. Guys, what are you supposed to do when you're really scared of something? Take it head on. Take the bull by its horns. Since many of the students here who are scared of maths are really scared of arithmetic and data interpretation, they tend to postpone its preparation. No? So they'll start with the 3 easy topics, number series, simplification, quadratic. They are like quite manageable, all of you are aware. And they just keep practicing it and they become very good at it, right? So they can do those 10 questions really fast. But this is where it stops. Some DI and this is game over for them. Now please don't mind this, but what do you have to do? You have to change the approach slightly. What do you need to fix first? The most important part, the most important subject area, what is that? Arithmetic and data interpretation. These 3 topics, I am aware all of you can do well. Somebody will do those 10 questions in 3 minutes, somebody else would do in 6 minutes, but everybody would eventually do it. Most of them. What is the problem area? Where you need to think, you need to learn, you need to apply yourself, isn't it? And that does take some time and effort. Let us understand how you need to work on it. Understand one thing first. Prelims and mains, these are 2 separate exams. Fine. Very different. The exams, the nature of the exams and everything is very different. But you do not prepare for them separately. So the approach that many people take would be, they'll prepare for this first, and then at a later stage, they would think about this mains, and it never happens. When it's like just 30 days left for the main exam, you'll think of, let me take this main specific course from some teacher, do some 10-15 DI sets, and let me somehow try and manage this. Isn't it? It happens with a lot of people. When you talk about preparing for pre, unfortunately, people focus on this mostly. We'll keep building speed here, and they become really good at it, which is not bad, which is really good. Some DI practice, and this is it. You get around 25 marks and you clear the exam. But what happens is that this, the real thing, this suffers. And because of it, the main specific data interpretation, the tougher sets, the bigger sets, you're not able to handle them at the time of exam. Guys, you need to understand that you are starting your preparation. It's the beginning of this new year, the new season, right? So you do have time in hand. So what I tell you in terms of strategy when the exam is just a month away, and what I tell you now at this stage, when the exam is nowhere in sight, would be very different. Right now, this is the time for you to dive right into this part, the most troublesome part. When I was a kid, used to go to school, my mother would give me an omelette and milk as breakfast. It was like a staple diet, routine tha. I would consume the omelette very quickly because I like it, and would keep delaying the consumption of milk because I didn't like it. It's much like this. You like those easy topics, you consume them fast, very quickly. You love doing them, practicing them. You don't like the tougher ones as much and you keep delaying it. Now, I could survive with that. Here, it would result in a problem. Let us try and understand how you should proceed with this. Guys, when you prepare for these exams, for any topic, it's a 3-stage process. This is stage number 1, fundamentals, learning the concepts by heart. What is the meaning? You learn something new, fine? Something that you do not know previously. It can be anything. It can be number series, a simple topic, or it can be data interpretation, complex sets. So you learn how to deal with them. This is invariably the first step. The second step would be practice. What is it for? Building speed and problem solving ability. When you know the fundamentals of something, any topic, you practice it. Practice it by solving questions. How does it help you? You build speed, you can solve the questions quickly, you achieve better accuracy, and you achieve better problem solving ability. What is the meaning? That now you can do new problems, new kind of questions from that topic very quickly. You get better at dealing with new kind of problems because you have done a lot of practice. Before I come to the third step, let me explain a major difference here. What happens when you compare the two, arithmetic DI versus those 3 easy topics? When it comes to those 3 topics, learning would be like 10 units of work and practice would be like 90 units of work. What is the meaning? That if you spend 10 units of time learning the concepts, you would need to spend another 90 units of time practicing them, solving them quickly, solving them accurately, 10 questions in 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever, right? This is the challenge here. On the other hand, if I talk about arithmetic and DI, this changes. It becomes something like this. And that's where most people tend to lose their patience. They start with those easy topics, they learn them pretty quickly, and like you can learn them really quickly, and then practice, and then they get better. Here the challenge is to spend these 50 units of time first in learning the fundamentals. What am I talking about? I'm talking about arithmetic and data interpretation. This is where most people tend to lose it. They would get impatient. This is not working. I did number series so fast. This is not happening. Am I doing something wrong? Is it really worth doing? I think I can manage without doing this. And these are the kind of thoughts that come into your mind, isn't it? Now guys, these 10, 90, 50, 50 are all just symbolic numbers just to give you an idea of how it works. It can be different, fine. So somebody who is naturally good at maths might not need that 50-50 kind of a thing. You might learn arithmetic as well very quickly and then do a lot of practice. But I'm talking about students who generally do not find it very comfortable. The problem is that the pace at which you learn some topics, quadratic equations, number series, simplification, is different from the pace at which you will learn something which is much deeper, like solving arithmetic and DI problems. You understand the problem? So since you are used to, by starting with those 3 topics, used to learning really quickly and then getting speed in another 7 days, you learn it in a day topic and then you get very fast at it in another 7 days, you expect the same from arithmetic. It doesn't work like that. The major difference is that these 3 topics, number series, simplification and quadratic, they can be done mechanically. Mechanically means you look at the question, you crack it like that. No thinking involved. Almost. I said almost, that's the key. Whereas in arithmetic, you'll have to think a lot. It'll start happening mechanically as well, going forward. But in the beginning, you need to put a lot of stress on your gray cells. You need to think, you need to apply yourself. And that's where, if you're not prepared for it, look, if you've been warned in advance, then you're prepared for it. If you're not prepared for it, then you might tend to give up. This is not happening. My teacher is not good. My resources are not good. Probably I'm not made up for it. मुझसे नहीं होगा. मैं कमजोर हूँ. I'm weak at it. I was weak in maths in school as well. You give yourself all this bullshit. Pardon my language, but this is what precisely happens with so many of you, isn't it? You know that already. आपने तो experience किया है, so you know that already. So that stage when you are required to practice arithmetic and DI sets, that never arrives. Look, for prelims it's different. Those DI sets are very simple. You do not need to really learn anything for it. But when it comes to those mains kind of sets, the tougher ones that require application, you tend to falter because you're not prepared with the basics. Just doing DI sets without working on your fundamentals first is like, it's not such a great idea. You might still do something, but you would never be that good as somebody else who has a very strong foundation. And this is what you need to build on this time. So this is what I suggest. Start with this, number 1, the most important one, even for prelims. 25 marks out of 35 are allocated to arithmetic and data interpretation. Then in between, you can take up this, then this, and then this third one. So what am I suggesting? You start with arithmetic data interpretation. It would be texting, right? So when you're learning, it'll test your patience. It'll be a little boring as well. Might be a little boring for some of you who are not really very interested in mathematics, right? But then you take a break and you do an easier topic like number series in between, which would be fun for you. Then you start doing arithmetic again. Then you can probably do simplification. Then you again do some arithmetic and do quadratic equations. These are topics that never bother anybody. Right? They're very simple. Almost anybody who can go through the grind, who can practice solving 500 questions, 1000 questions can master these three topics. So they would never be the problem. The problem is this area, and you need to address it. You will keep failing in the main exam till the time you take care of this problem. Take the bull by the horns. You start with this, take a break after some time, you do number series, come back to arithmetic DI, then do this, go back to arithmetic, and then you do this. This would be like a refreshment for you in between. Easy topics, you'll have fun solving a lot of questions on this. But this is something that needs to be addressed fast, really fast. Many of you might be wondering, why did I say around 30 questions out of 35 in mains are from arithmetic DI? You would say there is hardly any arithmetic, it's all DI. No, it's very, very closely related. You ask anybody who's good at arithmetic and DI, they are very closely connected. If you talk about DI sets, so out of 30 questions, 20-25 questions would be in the form of DI sets. So they would involve the use of three things: calculations, some calculations, not much, but yes, calculations, then logic, and third would be arithmetic topics. Arithmetic topic means they generally, they would frame problems in sets of 4 or 5 questions, 3 questions, and the problems are directly from arithmetic. So they can be set on profit and loss, they can be set on time square distance, time and work, ratio proportion, mixtures, anything. The breakup is not predetermined, nobody knows, so it can be mostly logic, less of arithmetic topics, it can be some calculative set, it can be, it's all mixed. So at times they would mix logic and arithmetic topics, at times logic and calculations, but the calculations generally are not that much. So if you believe you can take care of your data interpretation by just practicing calculations randomly, no, it will not happen. You will need to take care of arithmetic, you will need to start thinking, that's the logic part, and then some calculations. Even approximations and all do help in the calculations, and you always have options in all such exams. So when you look at this combined would be around 30 questions, and then they mix questions like data sufficiency, quantity comparison, fill in the blanks, multiple choice routine kind of questions, and all such kind of questions, but they're not different. If you know the basics of these two, you can handle everything. Tomorrow they can give you a true, false or a match the following. It doesn't make a difference. These are just question types. The base remains the same, arithmetic and data interpretation. Let me just quickly complete this chart for you. So you understood the first two. First is fundamentals, learning the concepts by heart, which I told you for the easier topics would be very simple, just 10 units of work, 90 units of work for practice. For arithmetic and DI, it would take some time, mostly for arithmetic, which forms the foundation of all data interpretation, and then practice. And the third step in cracking the exam would be this, mock tests, honing your test taking skills. When you know the fundamentals, then you are prepared to solve the questions. Look at this first step like that. Now you are prepared to solve the questions. Now you've got all the tools to solve the questions. Practice is where you get better at solving them. You get more accurate, you get fast. You can handle all the new kinds of problems confidently. This is practice. And the third would be your ability to convert all this, all your learning, all your practice into marks. And this happens through mock tests. So you do not start with mock tests. Right now, if you start doing the mock tests, you do not know enough. You haven't practiced enough. So mock tests alone would not be able to help you. If you get a 20 right now, taking mock tests would make you reach a 22 or 23, but never a 33 or a 34. Why? Because there is a problem somewhere here, probably fundamentals, or somewhere here you haven't practiced enough. So this has to be followed like that. This is step number 1, learning the fundamentals, which is tougher for arithmetic and DI as compared to the easier topics. Number 2 is practice, and number 3 would be mock tests. So you do not start directly with this number 3. That's a problem many people do. They do not have to start with the mock tests. Yes, scores do improve by taking the tests, but they do not improve till the time you have settled this and you have settled this. Please get this right. There are many of you who have been taking these exams for years, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, more than that. What do you need to do right now? You need to identify where exactly the problem lies. So the problem can be at this stage, fundamentals. The problem can be lack of practice, and without it you go to the mock tests, right? This second stage, or the third one, mock tests. You know everything, you know the fundamentals, you have practiced enough, but there is a problem with your test taking skills. You try and identify what exactly is the problem, and then you address it. It's not like one size fits all. So the strategy that different individuals need to take would be different. Somebody might need to work on fundamentals, somebody else on practice, and somebody just on mock tests. So I'm not saying you cannot start doing mock tests right now. No, you can. But then you have to be good at it. You have to be good at it. At times it can also happen that you believe that you're good at fundamentals. You know that you have practiced enough and you're taking mock tests. But if it hasn't worked for you till the stage, probably there is something wrong with your fundamentals that you do not know. Probably you're using those conventional methods that you believe are good. Basic से करना है, नहीं सुनते हैं बहुत बार, आप उसी से कर रहे हो and you're not fast enough. बेसिक से करने का मतलब ही नहीं that you take the lengthy methods. बेसिक से करने का मतलब है that you do not mug it up, that you understand why you're doing what you're doing. समझ रहे हैं इसका मतलब? So this is different. You need to work on the area where you think you're weak. I'm not talking about topics, is topic no, is topic no. I'm talking about which of the three stages you're weak at. Is it your fundamentals? Work on it. Is it the practice, the lack of practice? Or is it the third one? You know everything, you're fast at it, but when it comes to the exam, you just cannot perform in the exam. The cure would be different for different things. Let's talk about the resources now. If you're part of any of our programs, you have all the resources that you need to prepare. You not need anything else. If you're not and you cannot afford it, you may use the lessons on this channel. There's a lot of free content on this channel. All quality content still come in handy. It's all relevant even at this stage. Some of the lessons might be old on this channel, as old as 2017, but they're still very, very relevant. Maths does not change. So if you cannot afford it, use those resources. If you want to take help from some of the teacher, please feel free to do that. But choose your teachers very carefully. If you do not believe in taking help of teachers, you're an autodidact, you can still follow this plan to a large extent. I'm talking about fundamentals. Let's come to practice. For this stage number 2, there are two resources. One is PDFs. What PDFs am I talking about? There are hundreds of PDFs with practice questions floating all over the internet, and you can very, very easily get them. You can download them, you can practice from there. And second would be mock tests. Now mock tests ideally should come at stage 3, right? Why am I talking about mock tests here? Simple reason. You look at any mock test series, I've seen olive boards, they would give you access to last year's mock tests as well. There is a hell lot of good material available over there. Very relevant, contemporary, all relevant questions, last year's questions, and you can practice from there. Just open up a mock test. For example, I'm looking at 2021 SBI PO Prelims mock test. When I open it up, it might have 5 series questions, isn't it? They might be there. If I open up a test of SBI PO 2021 Prelims, it might have a few series questions, 4 or 5 questions. I'll solve them. I'll go to the next test. We'll solve series. Again, I'll keep doing like that. And that way I would get very relevant material. It's not old. It's on the lines of what's been appear in the exam of late, right? Fundamentals do not change, but the kind of questions that appear, they might still change. Understand the difference? So there are 2 ways to practice PDFs. If you don't believe in them, take a mock test series. It's a very affordable product. Go for whatever you like and use it like that. This is for practice. Say for example, you understand that DI in prelims is easy, but you believe that you're short in practice. There is not much to learn and teach in DI for prelims specifically, but you need to practice a lot. That's much like solving simplification, number series, quadratic kind of question. It's very simple. You do the basics from this channel and you'll understand. But you need to solve a few sets. What do you do then? Either do it through a PDF that you can find on the web. If you believe that the source of that PDF is good, it's genuine, it should not have too many errors, like, or you can go to a test series and open up last year's test. So if you open up last year's prelims test of SBI PO, for example, you'll find in most of the tests like 3 DI sets. Solve it, go to the next one, again solve 3, again solve 3. By the time you're done with the 20 tests, they generally give you 20 for one exam. You will be done with 60 DI sets. Do it for SBI clerk, IBPS clerk, IBPS PO, and there are so many other exams. Won't it be enough practice for you? Think about that. You have to find your means. Fine. Use your brain. It's very powerful. सोचो तरीके निकल आएंगे. Fine. ऐसे practice करो. If you believe you do not do well in quadratic equations, do it similarly. If you believe you struggle in, for example, puzzles, prelims level puzzles, very small, simple, sweet puzzles, but you haven't practiced enough, do it similarly like that. Take another test series. Test series is very affordable, isn't it? So that will give you enough practice. And the third step, mock tests. It's mock tests only. So this mock test series that you took for taking last year's test to practice questions would be useful here as well. For 2022 tests, you take them like mock tests. The process is simple. You learn the fundamentals first, either through your program or from YouTube lessons or from whatever source you believe is right for you. Then you practice solving a lot of questions, depends on requirement. Somebody might be required to solve 1000 series questions, somebody else might require to solve just 300 series questions.
And the third would be mock tests. This has to be done only when you think you're done with your fundamentals, you're done with enough practice. Otherwise, you'll score poorly here. That would demoralize you, frustrate you. You would start getting that sinking feeling that mujhse nahi ho payega, I'm not good enough, and you would end up leaving your preparation midway or be in a mode in which, though you are going through the motions, you are convinced that it's beyond you. It would be really bad. Do it methodically. This is the method. Fundamentals, practice, mock tests has to be followed like that. One question that you'll ask me is, sir, how much practice? I know when I know the fundamentals. Look, it has to flow like this. Fundamentals, you come here, you practice. You believe that you're getting a particular kind of question incorrect. So you believe you're getting time work questions incorrect. Means what? You have to go back here, work on the fundamentals some more, and then you come back here. It works like this. Now, when you believe that you started getting the questions correct and you can do them at a fair pace, it's time to move here. When you've done it for all the topics, right? How much practice? It's different for different people. It's like you want me to advise you on losing weight. Fine. Can I just prescribe a strategy for everyone? 2 hours at 6 kilometers per hour daily. You'll be fit in 6 months. No. I might just say 20 minutes. Might say 3 hours for you. You are obese. It's like this. So can I recommend something like 20 questions this topic every day? No, you might not need it. Beyond the first 10 days, you might not need 2 series questions. When I do mock tests, then also I'd be practicing them, isn't it? You get the point. Say I learn percentage. Just an example. I solve 200 questions on percentage. I feel supremely confident about it. I go to the mock tests after completing all the topics. I know this topic. So when I attempt the questions in mock test, would I not be doing percentage questions? Why do I need to do percentage questions daily after that? Not required. Same is true for all the easier topics as well. Once you know them, once you've practiced them enough, further practice would happen through the mock tests. It's not that you have to do 25 questions daily of series. No, why is it required? If I keep doing it like this, would I be left with time enough for doing reasoning, for doing GK, for English? There are a lot of subjects, no? Take care of one subject, one topic first, pack karke rakh do. Go to the other one. Keep revising that earlier one if it's important. So, for example, in series, there's not much to revise. There might be stuff to revise when it comes to arithmetic topics, or for that matter in other subjects as well, right? Keep doing it, keep revising it, but you do not need to behave like a robot. 20 series questions, 25 quadratic questions, 50 time work questions, these many RC passages. No, the requirements are different. So for example, you're good in English. Why would I ask you to do 25 passages every week? No, 10 might work for you. You might need to work a little more on your maths. You get the point. So who can advise you on this? You yourself, nobody else. Look at the current stage and then decide. You want to lose weight, for example. You want to get fit. You start with a regimen. After 7 days, you realize it's going fine. I lost half a kg. Good. You realize you've lost nothing. It's not working for you. We'll change it. That's how it works. So what is enough practice for you? So for example, I talk about series questions. You believe that now you can get 5 questions correct in 1.5 minutes on an average. Good. With time, with practice, with more practice, which will happen through the mode of mock tests, you might get even better. But now you do not need to solve 1000 more series questions to get that 1 minute 30 seconds to 1 minute 20 seconds. No, it's a waste of your time and effort. You have to take care of other things as well. दिमाग लगाओ, खुद से सोचो, खुद से पूछो. Do I know this reasonably well? Yes, I need to move to that other topic. We'll keep revising, we'll keep working on it. But you do not have to make schedules like robots do. This much, this much, this much, this much. नहीं, prelims करते रह जाओगे, कुछ और नहीं हो पाएगा. Start applying yourself, start thinking, get into the problem solving mode. What is the meaning of problem solving mode? Look, when I told you the strategy, I talked about the paper, how it looks like currently, what is the breakup and all. But right now, the paper is such that you cannot predict the kind of questions that are going to appear. That's where your problem solving skills come in handy. When you try and predict the paper, you would want the paper to look exactly in the same manner in which you expect it to look. ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. And the bank exams used to be like that 5-6 years back. एकदम predictable lines बोलते थे. Prelims is still pretty much like that, but mains is not. You get surprises, you get shocks. Now the good news is that it's the same for everyone. It's the same for me, my friend, his friend. सबके लिए बराबर है. Who wins? The one who can absorb this shock better. The one who is
prepared to absorb this shock better. Do this preparation. That's your problem solving skills. कुछ भी ले आओ यार, कर लूँगा. क्यों कर लूँगा? Because I know how to solve problems. I'm not just relying on the fact that I know this kind of question, that's why I'll be able to do it. No, I trust in myself. I believe in my ability. I have done enough problems. I know the concept by heart. I've solved enough questions. कुछ भी ले आओ, हो ही जाना चाहिए. सब कुछ थोड़ा ना करना है. What is a good score out of 16 mains? 25 is a very good score. 35 is a wonderful score. Looking at the current pattern, even 15-20 is acceptable. जो नहीं होगा छोड़ देंगे. कुछ तो होगा ना यार. If I've solved this much, would I fail in everything? Not possible. नहीं हो सकता ना.
One last question that you'll ask me probably, because arithmetic DI is so important here, is can we use CAT books for practice? There are so many CAT books for building your basics in arithmetic and data interpretation. Yes, you can use them, but I would still say that using a test series gives you the kind of questions that are actually expected in exam. So they would build your basics, would help you grow in confidence, but if that's the only thing that you plan to do, no, not a good idea. You can solve some questions from CAT books just to, give yourself more exposure when it comes to problem solving, but you have to finally come back to the mock tests for practice as well, using last year's tests. Most of them, I believe, give you those last year's tests. I'm summarizing it. Fundamentals first, by heart. Then practice. How much practice? Till the time you feel comfortable in the topic. It can be 200 questions, it can be 500 questions, it can be 1000 questions with regular revision of the fundamentals. Step 2. Once you're done with all the topics, once you think you are equipped to take mock tests, jump to mock tests. If you believe that while taking mock tests, you are getting stuck in a particular topic repeatedly, what do? Go back here or here according to the requirement. It is different for different people. Do not look for just one strategy to crack the exam. It doesn't work like that. Customize it according to your requirements. The resources I told you through the program or through YouTube lessons, whatever, this is either through PDFs or through the last year's mock tests, and this obviously through the latest mock tests. You can take any test series that suits your requirements. I think all of them give you some free tests. Check the quality, see what works for you, and then decide. What is the order of the topics that you will follow? This first, arithmetic and data interpretation. You start with arithmetic and you start solving easier DI sets first. You keep building up based on arithmetic. So you start with percentage, profit loss, SICI. You learn alligation, ratio, mixtures, time, speed, distance, time and work, whatever. You keep doing these easier topics in between. So for example, if you're done with percentage, profit loss, SICI, then you can jump to number series. Some respite for you. Meanwhile, you will revise all this. Then you go back to arithmetic, you will continue with alligation and ratios, mixtures, all those things. Then you take a break, come back to the simplification approximation. It will take you 3-4 days maximum. Then again you go back to it. After that, you continue the arithmetic, you take a break again, you come to quadratic equations. Syllabus done. These topics, you can leave them if you want, you can do them later, not at this stage. No, not at the cost of arithmetic and data interpretation. This has to be the thing. This has to be the way. This is the thing for you.
Guys, if you want different results this time, you'll have to do things differently, isn't it? Those things that are not working for you, that haven't been working for you, you need to change them. You need to adapt. That's the need of the hour. Do that now, at this stage. It'll be too late if you think about it when the notification arrives. No, it'll be too late. Get that tough task, that difficult task, that ugly thing, that glass of milk that I didn't used to like, now. And then you would feel comfortable when the time arrives to take the exams, isn't it? It's difficult, there is some challenge, but what's life without some challenges? It'll be doable. There are topics that would just require you to practice. There'll be topics that would require you to optimize the process first and then practice. Do it accordingly. It's not something that you cannot do. It's something that you can master. You can still do it. You can still learn it. It's probably, just some bad, painful memories of your misadventure with mathematics that's still haunting you. Flush them down the drain. Button press karo, flush kar do. Restart, reboot. That's what you need to do. Look, it's nothing that you cannot learn, that you cannot understand. I'm telling you. What do I say? I do not know how to fly an aircraft. I know I can learn it. Somebody needs to teach me. I need to go through the manual. I know I'll learn it. There's a point when I didn't know how to ride a bicycle when I was a kid. I learned it. There's a point when you did not know how to ride a bicycle. You also learned it. And you as a kid knew that you would learn it, isn't it? What is it now? You are a grown up, should be more intelligent. And you know that you cannot learn maths. How is that possible? Think about it. You were better that way as a kid, isn't it? You've convinced yourself you cannot learn it. As a kid, did you ever tell yourself, I cannot learn it? No. He knows it. He knows it. Why can I not learn it? Papa, la ke do cycle. What happened now? He knows it. He cleared the exam. He knows it. He cleared the exam. Why can I not do it? Probably, I have made myself believe that I'm not made for it, that I'm not good enough. What comes first? Self-belief. Before starting on any journey, you need that self-belief. अभी नहीं आता, कोई problem नहीं है, सीख लूँगा. I don't know it right now, it's okay. I accept it and then I work on it. Do not live in denial. Tell yourself, I don't know it. It's okay. But I'll fix this. How? I'll learn it. I'll work hard on it. Somebody might need 5 units of time to master it. I might need 7 or 10. I'll put in that effort if that's important for me. But I will learn it. And I'll do it well. I'll clear this exam because I know that I can clear this exam. You need to possess that self-belief first and then you would be able to do it. Follow the process. You will master it. You'll not just clear the exam. You might as well develop a new love, a new strength, a new favorite subject. Who knows, has happened with people in the past. Trust me guys, the happiness that you get out of learning something new, something that has troubled you for so long, is difficult to put into words. When you kill that monster, that phobia, that has troubled you for so long, it's very difficult to explain the feeling, the joy that you get out of it. Very difficult to put into words. In fact, the happiness that you get after taming this stubborn beast, let me put it this way, would be no less than the happiness that you'll get after clearing the exam. But get on the journey, get started. All of our good wishes, all of our support is there with you. All the best.